said the world above had ended. But endings are only for those who forgot how to begin again.
No?
Who are you? I thought we killed your whole family.
You're right at home behind that desk because you're no hero. You're a nerd playing a video game in a suit your daddy built.
I've never been the ruler of my own dreams.
But let's not dwell on unpleasant matters.
Yep, you got me. I love gobbling on hot, sloppy donuts. Love them from my mouth to my butt. How's it going? First day.
All the years he took from me, all the agony he put me through.
You want revenge?
Damn right I do!
You know me, Headmistress. I'll do both.
Don't shoot!
We sure cause a lot of explosions.
For those who come after, right?
Hey yo everyone! 2025 is over and the ever impending sense of doom continues to march on into 2026. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about much more important things, such as video games. Specifically, the best games of 2025. Like every year, I do my best to compile a list of what I think are the best games of the year. There are some that I've included in here that I haven't played myself, but I want to acknowledge their greatness. And there are also other games on this list that may not be revolutionary, but I'm including them because I personally love them. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. My worst games of the year video will be out soon. Aight, let's get it. Alrighty, let's just get this one out of the way. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is incredible. I'll admit, I was a bit hesitant about this one. I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based RPGs and the French in general, but man, Expedition 33 is just such a breath of fresh air. The world that Sandfall Interactive has built is just incredible. I love the story, the performances, the graphics are gorgeous, but most of all, Clair Obscur's take on turn-based combat is truly a standout. Instead of just clicking on the move you want to act out, like attack or retreat, the combat in this game requires thinking ahead, party management, and an almost rhythmic style parry system. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically each enemy has their own unique fighting style, and you can parry their attacks by timing your counter button just as you're about to get hit. This gets even crazier during those sweet boss battles, but no spoilers. What's most impressive to me is just how high quality this game feels, despite the fact that it launched at $40, or on Game Pass for my Xbox brethren, and that the development team behind it was super small. They found their excellent composer on SoundCloud, and the developers were mostly ex-Ubisoft employees of all things. Talk about overcoming the impossible. Congrats, Sandfall Interactive. You guys deserve all the praise that you've been getting this year, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Next up, let's show some love for one of the few PlayStation games this year, Ghost of Yotei. Personally, I haven't enjoyed this one as much as Ghost of Tsushima, but it is still an excellent game. The combat is more varied, you have more weapon options, the world and world building is incredibly done, and the graphics are A++. To me, the story is where this game falls short when compared to its predecessor. I like the characters and the setting, but the story doesn't feel as organic, I think, as the first game did, at least not to me. Maybe it picks up later on, as I kind of drifted away from it a while ago, but I am planning on finishing it. Either way, it's not a bad game by any measure, and I certainly think it deserves its spot with the other highest rated games of the year. Sticking with the feudal Japan setting, I want to show some love for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know, it's freaking crazy to think that an Assassin's Creed game in 2025 is being mentioned on the best games of the year list, but I'm sticking with it. Just like Ghost of Yotei, I don't think Assassin's Creed Shadows is as good as Ghost of Tsushima, but it is a fun game and arguably the best Assassin's Creed since Odyssey. Look, Assassin's Creed is not the franchise it once was. I think we all just kind of need to accept that. Yes, it still does its best to respect historical accuracy for the most part, and I think it does a decent job at that, but it's no longer that magical franchise it was back in its heyday. With that being said, it's still a great franchise for exploring different cultures and time periods, even if that overarching plot has been lost. To me, Shadows is the best Assassin's Creed game in years, and I gotta give Ubisoft credit for actually taking their time with this game and getting it right before shipping it out. I like the combat, I like the open world and the changing seasons, and I think the stealth is pretty damn great in here. Hopefully this is just the beginning of a new era for the franchise, and Ubisoft can keep this train rolling with that rumored Black Flag remake. Next on the list is a game that finally escaped development hell, Hollow Knight Silksong. Take off that clown makeup, y'all. Team Cherry actually pulled through. 6 years after its initial announcement in 2019, Hollow Knight Silksong appears to be everything the doctor ordered. A larger world, exciting exploration, sweaty platforming, the return of that hand-drawn 2D art style, and, of course, rage-inducing boss fights. And all of these reasons are exactly why I have not played it yet.
What?
Look, I respect the hell out of what Hollow Knight and Silksong have done. They're truly incredible, but I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I'm not very good at video games. Ironic, I know, but the truth is, I'm just a pretty average gamer. So when a higher difficulty game like Silksong comes out, yeah, I get FOMO for not being able to enjoy it. That doesn't mean I'm not a hater for not playing it. I suck at video games, okay? With all that being said, Silksong seems pretty dope, and I think Team Cherry did a good job of living up to that almost overwhelming hype. Speaking of overwhelming hype, let's take a look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Holy shit, this game is real. I never doubted it. I mean, besides the 50 years it was in development for. Initially revealed back in 2017, Metroid Prime 4 switched developers halfway through after Nintendo said the first studio wasn't meeting their standards for the franchise. So, they reached back out to the OG developers, Retro Studios, and put them in charge of Metroid Prime 4. It's not really clear how much of the game was done by the original studio and how much was Retro, but the fact that this Frankenstein of a game made it out in the quality that it did is nothing short of miraculous. Is Metroid Prime 4 the best Metroid Prime game? No, in my opinion, it's not. But is it a damn good Metroidvania and a fun return for Samus? Yeah, absolutely it is. I think if you've never played a Metroid Prime game before, then I think I'd recommend you play this one first. I think it's accessible for newcomers, and you don't really need prior knowledge of the franchise to enjoy it. The visuals are incredible on the Switch too, and the little details really help with the immersion. It's got its flaws, sure, but I love Metroid Prime 4, and I can't wait to see where Retro takes us next. Sticking with the first-person shooters, I gotta show some love for Doom: The Dark Ages. God, I just really love these games. Turn off your brain, get immersed, and become one of the most badass video game characters of all time. Seriously, the Doomslayer in this game is just the king of aura farming. You jump from a tall building, you're gonna make a big bassy boom when you hit the surface. You see that big giant robot? You can pilot that bitch like it's Pacific Rim. And of course, you get a wide variety of medieval inspired weapons for boots on the ground ripping and tearing. It's ridiculous, dude. I freaking love it. It is a bit slower paced than Doom Eternal, and I think the gameplay is streamlined a bit more, but I really enjoyed my time with Doom: The Dark Ages. Next up, I want to talk about Dispatch. Now, this is one of those games that I haven't played yet, but once it's out on the Switch, I think I'm going to cop it for sure. But from what I've seen so far, Dispatch looks like a game that I will love. Sure, it might not be an action-packed thriller like Spider-Man or something. It's more of a choose-your-own-adventure TV show. It's a game that, I'll admit, is kind of made for a very specific group of sickos, but guess what? I'm one of them. A Telltale adventure that focuses on superheroes and starring some fan-favorite celebrities. I mean, yeah, this is definitely my shit, dude. Honestly though, I'm just really looking forward to sinking my teeth into a new universe with interesting characters and a good story. I hope that all the glazing that you guys were doing is legit. Now on the opposite end of the spectrum, here's a game that I spent tons of time with, Hades 2. The original Hades was my first venture into the roguelite genre, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've played one that I've enjoyed more since then. That was until Hades 2 dropped. Everything that I loved about the original, the Greek pantheon, the art style, that high-octane combat, the story, the voice actors, the boss fights, it's all here again, and it's better than ever. Seriously, the way that Supergiant Games sets up their storytelling, you can easily put in over 100 hours and still be discovering new dialogue. Plus, the variety of weapons in this sequel, the run modifiers, the extra content in general, it's just so good, man. Easily worth the price of admission. Next up, I want to talk about Rematch. You know, that game that's kind of like Rocket League but played with humans instead of cars. This online soccer game is from the developer Slowclap, the studio behind Sifu. Now, if you've played Sifu, then you know that game was known for its snappy controls and fluid motion. Slowclap has brought that same ideology here to Rematch, and I gotta tell you guys, I think it's awesome. It's maybe not as smooth as Sifu is, simply because this is an online multiplayer game and sometimes things get wonky with the ball, but the controls are still awesome. The mechanics have some surprising depth, and most of all, it's just fun, dude, which according to the rulebook that I just made up is the #1 requirement for being on the best games of the year list. So if you're looking for a fun, competitive co-op game with your friends, Rematch is definitely worth a shot. No pun intended. Alright, while we're talking about fun games with friends, let's show some love for Peak. This game is peak.
You need to leave!
For real though, Peak is great. It's one of those viral co-op games where you just kind of mess around with your buddies, kind of like Lethal Company or Content Warning or Repo. I've seen some people refer to these types of games as friend slop, and yeah, while it is definitely a lower budget game, that doesn't mean it's a lesser game. Sure, there could be an argument made that some developers out there are trying to capitalize on this friend slop subgenre where it's just a cheap co-op game with not a lot of depth, but dude, if it's fun and cheap and if you enjoy it, then who gives a shit, right? Video games are meant to be fun, they're meant to be enjoyed, and to me, Peak is a great example of a simple game that you can stay up all night playing with your friends. It's dumb, yeah, but I don't know. I would still definitely recommend it if you're looking to get into some shenanigans. Okay, now for a weird one. The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered. Now I know remakes and remasters are a highly debated topic when it comes to the best games of the year, but since this is my list, I'm gonna include it. I never played the original Oblivion, so this remaster was basically a whole entirely brand new game for me. And I loved it, I really did. I think it's really incredible what the devs at Virtuous were able to do here. To me, it feels like they really blurred the line between a remaster and a full-on remake. The updated graphics are stunning, but it still feels like an old school Bethesda game, you know? Like it's got that Bethesda charm where there are glitches everywhere, but it's still mostly enjoyable. God, that's kind of pathetic that this is the standard for us now, isn't it? The bar for Bethesda is basically in hell. I'm mostly joking. But from what I've seen online, it seems like the OG fans appreciate Virtuous sticking so close to the source material, really only updating game-breaking bugs or technical issues. The story, quests, and even some of the minor not game-breaking glitches are all still here for an entirely new generation to enjoy. If this is the standard Bethesda is setting for the remasters, then I really can't wait to see what that rumored Fallout 3 or New Vegas remaster looks like. Continuing with Xbox, I want to give a shout out to South of Midnight. In a year dominated by surprise AA hits, I don't want this one to go under the radar. Compulsion Games, the developers behind We Happy Few, cooked up something special here. Deep in the Louisiana bayou, south of Midnight follows Hazel Flood, this young woman who discovers she's something called a weaver. Basically, Hazel gets a bunch of cool magical powers and tools that she can use to try and find her mom, who was swept away during this big storm. It's a great game that has excellent storytelling, unique characters, and an appreciation for Southern folklore, something that I actually had no experience with before this. Plus, they use this awesome art style, somewhat similar to the Into the Spider-Verse movies, where the world and the characters move at a unique, distinct frame rate. I'll admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of all of the combat in this game, but Compulsion Games did introduce this controversial mechanic where you can skip boss levels. I have mixed feelings on that. But I thought the platforming portions were really, really fun, and like I said, I really enjoyed the story here. If you have Game Pass and are looking for a unique world to immerse yourself in, definitely check out South of Midnight. Next up, we of course have to talk about Arc Raiders. Man, what a pleasant surprise this game is. I'm normally not that into extraction shooters, but I had to see what all the hubbub was about, and yeah dude, Arc Raiders is excellent. You're dropped into this underground civilization named Speranza, which is basically your home base. You can craft weapons and equipment, trade materials and junk, buy tools and upgrades, and take on quests from the NPCs. But the real meat and potatoes of the game takes place on the surface world, which has been abandoned by the wealthy elite who I think went to space or something, and is now taken over by killer robots named Arc. Once you're on the surface, it's basically a dog-eat-dog world. You can hunt down Arc, go scavenging for materials, or try your hand at PvP. You truly have the freedom to approach this game however you choose, but be prepared because everyone else on the surface has the same options. I don't know, man. I've really been enjoying my time with this game. I think it's a great microcosm of society itself, honestly. You can try and be peaceful with others, show them mercy when they ask for it, or you can completely ruin people's day and loot their corpses. In my opinion, for 40 bucks, Arc Raiders is absolutely worth it, and I'm really, really excited to see how Embark Studios expands on this world in the future. Next, I want to talk about Split Fiction. This game came out last March, and I'm gonna be honest, I kind of forgot about it after I beat it. However, I do very distinctly remember playing this game and thinking to myself, oh yeah, this is 100% a Game of the Year contender. Just like Hazelight's other hits, Split Fiction is an incredible co-op game that focuses on deep storytelling and unique gameplay mechanics. Similar to It Takes Two, Split Fiction requires 2 people to play it, which I don't know, I kind of like. I think it's good to have these type of co-op games out there to really force us losers to socialize. Anyway, without getting too deep into the weeds, your adventure jumps between a medieval fantasy land and a science fiction, futuristic cyberpunk city. Each level throws a new mechanic at you, some sort of new gimmick, and they use them in such fun and interesting ways that it's hard not to smile your way through it. I think that this game is a bit more difficult than the other Hazelight games, but I'd still recommend this to anyone who loves co-op games and wants to experience some seriously cool level design. Keep up the great work, Hazelight. Next up is my penultimate entry, and that, of course, is Donkey Kong Bonanza. My goodness, I love this shit, man. There is just something so cathartic about destroying an entire level, punching the absolute dust out of a boulder, and finding a hidden banana. From the team that developed Super Mario Odyssey, you know, arguably the best 3D Super Mario game, heck, maybe one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time, comes their follow-up game focused on Donkey Kong and a younger iteration of Pauline. And just like Odyssey, you get these big open levels where you can explore, take on quests, and of course, find bananas, which is this game's version of Odyssey's moons. The tech in here is awesome, and I'm honestly amazed at just how much you can break without the game crashing. I guess I'm still kind of getting used to the fact that a modern Nintendo system actually has some relatively beefed up hardware. Anyway, this is such a breath of fresh air for the Donkey Kong IP. I understand why some of the OG fans might be a bit disappointed. I mean, it is kind of the opposite of a traditional DK game. Instead of crafting these excellent, polished 2D platforming levels that are structured and deliberate, Bonanza gives the player a huge open sandbox to attack in any way they so choose. It's a complete antithesis to the classic formula, structure versus freedom. Sure, it would have been nice if this was a major 3D Mario game for the Switch 2's launch window, especially since it was the Italian Plumber's 40th anniversary last year, but in my opinion, Donkey Kong Bonanza lives up to that calling and much, much more. And now finally, for our last entry, Party Panda 17's personal game of the year is none other than Call of Duty Black Ops 7.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Wait a minute, that's not right. Battlefield 6! After a pretty rough couple of years, I am pleased to announce that yes, my friends, Battlefield is so back. Look, I know that this game isn't perfect, in fact, it has a lot of issues, but I'm choosing to ignore them. DICE and the other developers within Battlefield Studios have done an incredible job to bring this franchise back to relevancy. I mean, it's the first shooter to outsell Call of Duty since 2006. 2006! Call of Duty hasn't been dethroned since the freaking Bush administration. That's crazy, man. I know this phrase gets thrown out there a lot, but to me, Battlefield 6 really does feel like a return to form. Outstanding sound design, gorgeous visuals, destructive maps, immersive multiplayer battles, and a mediocre at best single player campaign. It's everything that Battlefield is supposed to be. Seriously, man, I get so much joy returning to this game. The gameplay is just, it feels so good. I like the new game modes. Almost all of the maps I think are really well done, and so far, they've been staying true to their word about not including wacky crossovers or immersion-breaking cosmetics in the game. Like I said, this game isn't perfect, and reasonable people out there could certainly make an argument as to where and how it could be improved, but for me, personally, it's everything that I wanted. It's tragic that Vince Zampella is no longer with us to steer this franchise further, but I am so happy with this game and what he and the team at EA have put out. I hope they keep this momentum rolling and the Battlefield community can get excited about the future of the franchise again. Alrighty, and now to wrap up the video, I have some honorable mentions. Due to the nature of video games and my very limited free time, there are a lot of great titles out there that I might have missed out on this year or just didn't have enough time to include in the main list. So I'm going to do things a bit different this year. The games that I've played personally will get a little Party Panda stamp of approval. The games that I haven't played yet, but I want to acknowledge are great and deserve to be mentioned, will not have this stamp of approval. Doesn't mean I don't like the game or don't appreciate its greatness, I just haven't played it myself, so when I talk about it, I'm basing my opinion on what other people are saying. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, let's show some love to the other great games this year. Mario Kart World. Great kart racer, love the new Knockout Tour and maps, but let's be real, it's not even close to being worth 80 bucks. Maybe one day it will be with expansions and stuff, but as of right now, I'd only get this game if you're getting the Switch 2 bundle. LEGO Voyagers, really cozy co-op game that I'd recommend for newer or younger gamers. Not super intense or long, but a good time if you can snag it on sale. Avowed, great RPG, lots of lore to discover, and a really cool world. I love the combat in here. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Jesus, we couldn't have come up with an easier name. I think some sleeper agent just got activated somewhere after hearing this. Whatever. As far as I can tell, a great remake of the original classic that fixes older problems while staying true to the source material. Hopefully Konami can keep this up. The Outer Worlds 2. Another great RPG. From what I've seen, people say it's a better game overall than the first one, with deeper mechanics and richer worlds to explore. Pokemon Legends Z to A. I don't know, I guess people are liking it. I like the Pokemon games, but I haven't been that impressed with the newer titles, so I'm still waiting to try this one out for myself. Kirby Air Riders. Not a bad game at all, but I'm not sure that I agree with the $70 price tag. It definitely plays more like Super Smash Bros. Than it does Mario Kart, which I think gives it a very unique feeling. It's cool. I'm happy for the OG fans that finally got a sequel. Atomfall. Fascinating world, interesting premise, dope visuals. I'm excited to see what this studio does next. Final Fantasy Tactics, The Ivalice Chronicles. I think I said that right. Whoa, my furniture just started floating after I said that name.
What happened to your furniture, cuz?
Now, I never played the original version of this game, so I'm waiting for this to go on sale, but from everything I've seen, this game lives up to the hype and is one of the best RPG stories out there. Elden Ring Night Ring. Elden Ring but multiplayer. Pretty cool to see that FromSoft was actually able to pull this off. Gives me hope for their next game, The Duskbloods. Silent Hill F. A suffocating atmosphere, great horror. I've heard this game is incredible and one of the best Silent Hill games since the original Silent Hill 2. Blueprints. One of the best roguelikes in recent years, very innovative, and I like the art style. Good puzzles, a mysterious story, and plenty of replayability. Ninja Gaiden 4, a classic return to form for hack and slash gamers. Outstanding combat, but a bit of a disappointing story with so-so level design. Dying Light: The Beast. Fun twist on the franchise, great parkour, an enticing open world, interesting premise, and hopefully a whole lot of DLC on the way, just like its predecessors. Mafia: The Old Country. Just a good old-fashioned, story-driven single-player game that is reasonably priced. I love this franchise and can't wait to check this one out for myself. Marvel: Cosmic Invasion. A great beat 'em up with a fantastic roster of Marvel superheroes. I love the aesthetic, and I'm really happy that these type of games are still flourishing and getting the love that they deserve. Death Stranding 2: On the Beach. From what I can tell, it's a bigger and better version than the original. I've heard some people say that some of the gameplay mechanics feel a bit watered down, like maybe simplified a bit, but the world and the story and that weird Kojima touch make up for it. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. A deep RPG with excellent combat, a great story, and plenty of content to delve into. One of the best games of the year when it comes to immersion, and if you're into medieval times and looking for a huge adventure to sink your teeth into for at least 50 hours or so, you're probably gonna love this. And that, my friends, is my list of the best games of 2025. I'm sure I missed some other hits, so if I did and it happened to be your favorite game of the year, I apologize. Be sure to let me know about it down below in the comments. Nicely, please. Before I end the video though, I just want to say thank you guys all so much for your support this year. It's been a crazy one, to be honest. I got laid off from my job, which really sucked, but I was able to find a new one, thank goodness, so we're all good. And as I've said before, I live in the Twin Cities and things are kind of crazy, kind of dystopian right now. But you guys have been a great distraction for me. Just writing, researching, and editing videos has been one of my favorite ways to escape. And we even hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We actually did it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you guys all. I appreciate all of this. And if you're new here, hopefully you enjoyed your time. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I will be back very soon with the year's biggest stinkers. I appreciate you guys as always, and I'll catch you in the next one.